All right, we'll call the meeting to order. We have met compliance with all notifications. Roll call, please.
Laura Gapsky.
Here.
Brooke Taylor.
Here.
Mike Meyer. Here. Steve Olson. Here. I'm here. Steve Stupak. Here. President Albrecht.
Okay, this meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education held in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for comments by members of the public during the meeting as indicated on the agenda. Members of the public wishing to address the board on any of the topics included on tonight's agenda may do so by completing the public comment sign-up sheet and handing it to the deputy clerk. I've already got the public sign, got them right here. Any comments involving personally identifiable information about students, staff, or administration is not allowed. Comment should be respectful, focused on the items being considered by the board, and will be restricted to 3 minutes in length. That will go right into the report of the superintendent.
All right, I have a handful of informational items. We have a couple principals here. Kim from Fort. So Kim, I have you first. Good evening. It's here.
Good evening.
I feel like I was just here in October, which sounds like a long ways away, but.
Time flies when we're having fun.
All right, so I'm here, I'm going to talk a little bit about where we are with Four Corners. This is. So first we want to talk a little bit about the things that we have to celebrate within the building, and we have lots of celebrations. So I will tell you, I struggled to fit this all on one slide. And I know I broke the rule of too much text on one slide, but it's hard when you're proud of your building and everything that's going on. So first and foremost, our two goals, and we'll talk a little bit about those, as we're making a lot of progress towards our culture goal for the year. One of the things that I'm super proud of is our family engagement. For example, we recently had a family math night, which that sounds, a family math night. We had over 145 student families there. So it was a fun day. We sent home all the participants with a goodie bag that was put together by our family engagement coordinator, Ellen Chica, of all the directions to the games, all the things they would need to play the game. So it was and then we're planning another family night for May 23rd this spring in conjunction with our PTA that's going to be STEM focused. So I'm pretty excited about that as well. The other thing that's been going really well this year, and we started this last year, was staff are sending home positive postcards home to our students. And we've gotten a lot of feedback from kids and from families that the kids really love to get those, that the postcards are addressed to students. They're not addressed to the parents. So the kids get their own mail. They come from the teacher, myself, our support staff are sending them. Some of our substitute teachers are sending them. It's really a very cool, positive thing for our building. In Fayette, if you saw David's video, so David coming out making that amazing video. Our kids just completed their unit on roller skating. It's so much fun. Our kids increased their coordination, their balance, their agility. They had a great time. Our kindergartners on roller skates are the best thing you've ever seen. And they came so far. By the end of the 2 weeks, they were trucking around just as well as our fifth graders. So that was very cool to watch. And one of the things that we've got going on our playground is we've got some structured games. So we added some structure to kickball at the beginning of the year. Our students sat down with our Fayette teacher and kind of decided, what do we want the rules to be? So that it felt like it was more organized, more fair, and that's really had a positive impact. We've also got a Star Player Award program that our support staff actually, it came from them. And so they nominate students all throughout the course of the week for being a good sport, helping younger students, being a good role model. And then every week we pull a name and that student gets to pick a prize and gets a picture and their picture goes in the wall. And that's been really successful. Just looking at our behavior data this year, right now, compared to last year at this time, our behavior referrals are down by 12% with our major referrals down over 42%. So it is definitely helping.
Great job.
It's got amazing staff. They have great ideas out there. Challenges. So, with all the celebrations, of course, we know there are challenges. This time of year is very challenging in a school. Everybody's tired of winter and, we've got state testing, which woohoo, state testing. It's awesome. It's a great for our kids to be able to show what they know, but it's also a stressful time. So we are progressing towards our goal, which was 100% of our students being proficient in math and reading by the end of the school year. We're doing a very good job, I think, of working towards our math goal, and you'll see that data in a little bit. However, our reading data is still relatively stagnant. We haven't moved a lot from fall to winter. Our students are growing, but they're not growing at the rate that we would expect or would like to see in order for them to meet that 100% goal by the end of the year. One of the other challenges is, and this is not unique to Four Corners, but staffing and substitute coverage continues to have an impact. It is a lot better than last year. So I appreciate that. I think the district has made some really good strides in bringing in more substitute teachers and bringing some consistency to that. But it's still a challenge that we work through, just like every other building on a weekly basis. And one of the other things, the last thing I put on there are some socio-political factors that are outside the school that are causing some additional stress on our staff. And they're amazing folks with kind hearts, and they love kids, and they take everything internally. So that's been a little tough. So our goals, 100%, like I said, our goals, 100% of our third, fourth, and fifth grade students will be at or above proficiency, which means on track on the FAST Bridge, which is our district assessment, in reading and math by the end of the school year. And then our second goal is our culture goal, that 100% of our students will report feeling connected to our community, have positive peer relationships by the end of the school year. And so let's take a look at some of that data real quick. So we did a dipstick check with our students this winter. So we gave a full survey to our students last spring, and then we utilized that data in order to make our goal. We said that we wanted to do a check in mid-year to see kind of how things are going and how our kids are feeling. And this survey went to 3 through 5 students. We've had some conversation at the building about what can that look like, K1, 2. Obviously, a survey to a kindergartner is going to be much different than to a fifth grader. But what we found was 95.5% of our students reported feeling included in their school, which is up quite a bit from last spring, which was at 87%. 98% of our students reported feeling their teacher cares about them, which was right about where we were last year, which was very high. 95% of our students reported feeling listened to by adults in the building, which that was also up from last spring, which was 88%. And 93% of our students report feeling they're an important part of their classroom, which was up from 88% in 21-22. Part of that I can really attribute, obviously, like I said, our staff are amazing. They're there for the kids 100%, just like all the staff in Superior, which makes us such a great place to be. But I think one of the things, like I said, along with the positive postcards, our teachers have done a really good job of incorporating morning meetings and closing circles every day into their classroom. It's just kind of become part of what they do. And you see those every single day. It gives the students an opportunity to be heard. It gives the students an opportunity to, if there's something bother them or there's something they're excited about, to kind of get that out.
Many of your teachers attended the responsive classroom, right?
That was the other thing I had on here is we had a good number of our teachers that attended the responsive classroom training this summer. And I'm seeing a lot of those things they're happening within those classrooms, and they're also kind of being spread out to other classrooms to teachers who didn't attend, which is very, very cool. Mm-hmm. So our academic progress, like I said, I feel like in some places we're making a lot of growth, and in some places we've still got some work to do. So in math, the last couple of years, we've really focused on math in terms of ensuring that students are talking about math and talking through their thinking and be able to explain it to others. Engaging in the quick practice, the daily routine, some of those kinds of things to ensure that they're continuing to go back and revisit those concepts and really cement them in along with learning new things. So our kindergarten through first grade, our early math, right now, 75% of students are on track to be proficient by the end of the year, which is up from 66% at the beginning of the school year. Our second through fifth grade math, That's moving a little bit slower, but they're still moving in the right direction. 62% of our students are on track to be proficient by the end of the school year, which is up from 60. So I think it's very realistic that we could hit that 100%. You know, it's within reason for sure. Our reading data, like I said, it's not quite moving in the direction we want. And there's a variety of things that we've kind of talked about as a staff that could be playing into that. So our K1, our early reading did go down from spring to winter. But one thing to note is that the test changes. There's some new sections that get added to the test that aren't there in the spring that have to do with really those early reading skills. And then second through fifth, 56% of our students are on track to be proficient, which is up from 55. So that's, like I said, pretty stagnant data, but you know what? This is like halftime and this is the time when the coach talks to the team. Well, Ryan Haraldson and his. And so one of the things that's really working well is our EMLSS teacher that has been phenomenal. She's right now working with 23 students in first through fifth grade. 18 are making significant progress and are on track to meet their goal by the end of the year. Some have quadrupled their proficiency from fall to now. It's pretty amazing. 5 are growing, but are not yet on track to meet that goal. She's also working with some of our kindergarten students and has been pushing into our kindergarten class to work with some of our early readers as well. So it's just a phenomenal addition to our building. So what are we going to do about it? As a PLC school, we've really prided ourselves in our collaborative processes and structure that we have at Four Corners. So we are working on engaging in collective inquiry into some research around what can we do to better sustain an effective reading workshop. So we've got that time with our kids. What are some more effective things that we can be doing with our kids during that time in small group? Working on some of those things that we've seen that our students are still struggling with. We're working on those as a staff during our Wednesday morning meetings. And also we've got that work planned for our professional development day on Thursday. Some of the areas of need that we noted according to our winter FastBridge data, phonics and fluency came out big at second and third grade and needing some additional work there. Vocabulary and comprehension really stood out at fourth and fifth grade. So these are the areas that we're going to focus on as a staff, diving into some of the research and looking at instructional practices and really kind of thinking outside the box that we've got the resource that we work with, but what are some more targeted things that we can utilize with small groups to get them moving in the right direction. And of course, our PLC teams, as they have for many, many years, will continue to analyze that data. They've been working to break students into smaller groups according to areas during our tier 2, which is our win time, 30 minutes a day. Those groups are receiving specific instruction and interventions to address those areas in which they need to grow. And so one of the things I just wanted to kind of close out with, because this really speaks to who we are and kind of what we believe in the building. This comes from best practices at tier 1, Mike Matos, who's like an education guru when it comes to PLCs. He says organizations get better results when people work collaboratively. This universal truth certainly applies to schools and the collaborative approach to good teaching. In his study of factors that impact learning most, his first recommendation is for increasing student achievement is for teachers to work collaboratively instead of in isolation. Hattie's recommendation recognizes and experience and common sense confirm that there is no way one individual teacher has all the time, all the skills, and all the knowledge necessary to meet every student's individual needs. The only way a school staff can achieve the mission of enabling the highest level of learning for all of our students is by leveraging their combined skills. And so that's our goal for the remainder of the year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you.
Nice.
Thank Hey, Christine.
Again, it's been a while since I got to see everyone. So it's interesting being after Kim because there's some similarities, but some differences among the schools. First, I wanted to start off with the celebrations as well. The PBIS celebrations that we've had going on at Cooper have been amazing. We've had field trips where I was able to split up and have kindergartners, first grade, second grade go to we had Funland, bowling, and Saha, and seeing kids skating for the first time or bowling and different activities that they don't get to do is a lot of fun. And I was able to run one of the field trips, so that was pretty cool, just seeing at a different capacity. Our PTA raised $10,000, which was phenomenal, and I was not expecting them to get to that amount. With that, the incentive was that I would be slimed. So on Wednesday, I don't know, like it's not a celebration, but on Wednesday, that is what the children earned. So if you walk down the halls in Cooper right now, that's what you'll be hearing about.
Dave, is there a video?
Yeah.
If you want it, I'll do it.
Yeah, too, that are like, we need Dave there for this. So,
What time is it?
2:45. I hear there might be a snow day though. But that though, the positive relationships that have been happening in the building, and I will also be touching on this because this was part of one of our goals this year as well. This is something that Principal Liebers and the staff had in place prior to me coming to the school, and it has been a huge foundation to this year as well. Having those positive relationships be the forefront, and really the Cooper staff, it's very unique on how well everybody works together, and kids always come first. And finally, the reading gains that we've been able to make. And I have to attribute this to our EMLSS teacher who meets with 55 kids, give or take. Her groups are changing quite a bit. We honed in on a schedule for her, and she is never in the office. I mean, she is all over the building all times of the day, but the gains that she has made with the kids have been phenomenal. So those kids that are really struggling are getting a dip with the teacher, but they're also getting that second intervention with the EMLSS teacher. And the data is just astounding for the gains that we've been able to make, largely due to her and paired with the classroom teachers. I also said with the special education services that are provided as well. So we have really honed in on that reading workshop time. That is our nothing messes with reading workshop time, so that we can make sure that the strategic interventions are happening at that time and everybody is getting those 2 dips if they need it. Some of the challenges, like Kim had mentioned with Four Corners, the sub shortages, and we dealt with this in Duluth as well. We are fortunate at Cooper that we have a rotating handful of subs that generally seem to come back quite a bit. And I know that Superior School District has gone a long ways with making sure that we have the teachers in place and the support that we need to make sure that we're filling in those gaps. Also the support staff though, really another pro with Cooper is that our EMLSS teacher does her intervention, but we also have a tier 2 intervention that read naturally. And we have our support staff are trained in that, and they have goals with the kids, and they have basically their own classroom sessions that happen. So when they are gone, it does put a hindrance on that. Classroom teacher has been very flexible, and other support staff are trained in the read naturally too. So we've been able to adjust, and there's been many times that I've stepped in too, just to make sure that those interventions are happening with fidelity. But just filling in those gaps when needed. And it's just, when the stomach bug hits rampant, you're going to lose some people. So it's just working through those gaps. Knock on wood. Yeah, we've been lucky for a while. So our school goals this year, our first goal is that we will ensure that every student feels that they have at least one connection with an adult at Cooper by the end of the school year. This goal we actually already met. So at the beginning of the year, we gave out a survey we called it the connection survey. I'd mentioned that in my first time meeting with you. At that point, there was 4 kids who did not identify an adult in the building that they felt connected to. Through myself, the classroom teachers, and our counselor, we were able to have conversations with them, pair them up with positive adults in the building, make sure to, I mean, even our engineer, the fact that he also joined our PBIS team and he is there wearing silly costumes and getting to know the kids. And so it's interesting to see the connections that they are making, and it goes beyond the classroom teachers. Our next goal was that by the end of the 22-23 school year, we will see a 35% increase in the number of students who score proficient and advanced in reading on the FastBridge reading assessment. So the ways that we are meeting our goals, one, I have to attribute a lot of it to our family engagement nights, the field trips. Again, it is really all hands on deck, making sure that everybody knows the kids, knows who they're able to get to know the families through the family nights. It amazes me with the activities that we have at Cooper, and there's a lot of them, which I love, that our engineers show up, our custodial staff show up. It is a community school, which is a very cool thing. With the FastBridge benchmark testing, our EMLS teacher and the PLC focus, we've been able to make some very impressive gains with our reading instruction. So our goal was to have a 35% increase. After diving through the data and looking at each grade level, we have had about a 12% increase. Now that was as of January. I was meeting with Emily Sharrow, who is our EMLSS teacher, and it is beyond that with especially some of the K1 students that she has been meeting with. We've been able to make some significant gains with those students as well. So I am excited to see the spring data and also to see the board assessments and kind of how all of that is going to relate to each other. The progress that we have been making, we have really dove into the data between the fall to the winter FastBridge assessments that we gave out, but also the progress monitoring that's been happening between the EMLSS and the classroom teachers. This is where we've been able to catch some of those gaps that the students are experiencing, whether in the lower grade, if it's identification of the lowercase letters or the sounds. We've been able to really make sure that we're honing in on the individual needs of that child. And Emily has gone above and beyond to make sure that she is modifying her intervention to meet the specific needs of the group that she is working with. The powerful thing is sitting in our PLCs as well, and we're going to do a lot of this on this Thursday coming up too, just to make sure that we're still on track and sharing some ideas, but working with the special education teachers, EMLSS, and classroom teachers, seeing the different strategies that a teacher uses or something that's working really well for one teacher and having another teacher say, hey, I'd love to use that too. We've been able to share a lot of great ideas. The student surveys has been a driving force for making sure that our students feel connected, that they have peers that they trust and feel connected to at school, along with those supportive staff members that they're seeing on a daily basis. We will be diving back into that again in the next round of surveys that we're going to be doing in the upcoming weeks, just to make sure that no child is falling through the cracks. Even children that are moving in or transferring from another school, we want to make sure that we are connecting with them right off the bat and making sure that they're feeling connected. That is all I have. If anybody has any questions.
Can you, or maybe Kate too, can you remind me when we get the spring data back?
Yeah, it's,
For FastBridge?
we have a window, 3-week window in May. So the end of May will be the end of our spring window for our own mark testing. And then our state forward data typically comes back June, July, August, depending on.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
All right, our student representative from Superior High School, Aaron.
All right, so thanks. So to start off, this past month, we've had a lot of stuff going on, including our Unity Day, which David Corey, I'm not sure if you got the video in any of the stuff. All right.
Yep. It's on
Yeah.
YouTube, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so we've got a video of some of our Unity Day stuff that we had done this past month. We had very few minor hiccups throughout the morning that we were holding this Unity Day. And since it was our first event, it had gone very smoothly.
And it was all student led.
Yeah.
And
it was
organized.
Student
Oh.
council led and organized. We did have help with supervision and stuff from the teachers, but we were the ones that were leading all of the different things that we were doing. We also did have a speaker come in and talk 3 different times. So we kind of broke up all of the high school into 3 different groups and had them all kind of cycle through going and listening to the speaker as well as one of the parts of it. We also heard great things from our students and staff in the survey that we sent out to them after the fact. And we heard good feedback with very few things, just minor things to kind of tweak to make it run a little bit more smoothly for future. And on the topic of our future student council members, we have our election ballots that we sent out today during advisory. So from today until Wednesday at the end of the day for school, it will be open to sophomores, juniors, and freshmen to vote for their student council members that they'll want for next year. We're holding off to have the presidential elections till after we've got all of our new people shuffled around to see who will be moving on. And although there is still no snow melting in sight for spring sports, we have started practice indoors, even with the fields not being cleared off. There's no real sign of when we'll start having games outside yet. The Packy Paquette is this Thursday at UWS as well. Music just wrapped up their solo ensembles this past week and are waiting on results for that. And then coming up, we have pre-ACT Day on April 19th that sophomores and freshmen will be testing, and then community service hours are available for students who still need to get their hours done as well for senior project related stuff.
Wonderful.
That's all I got.
All right.
Thank you.
What was your favorite part, Aaron?
For the Unity Day,
Uh-huh.
well, I was kind of shuffling in between all of the different activities that were going on, but it definitely looked like a lot of kids were having fun at the slime making that we had. And then also we had spike ball in the wrestling multipurpose room,
Fun.
and kids were having a lot of fun with that too. So
Aaron, what was the message of the guest speaker then to all 3?
it was a lot of, he kind of tried to build it off of our motto that we had, which was building unity in our Spartan community. But his was a lot of like focusing on mental health stuff as well. So
If you like, it's.
You got the whole lecture. Yeah. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, I did watch it. I thought it
Yeah,
was pretty
me too.
good.
Thanks for doing that, David.
It was pretty impressive, the student council put that on.
Yeah.
Good job. All right, my last update is just regarding our school consolidation advisory committee. We met on March 23rd for the final meeting. As a part of the final meeting, we answered remaining questions that they had generated, as well as complete a final exit survey. And I've shared the survey results that they've completed with the board as well as the committee. And so I know part of your task is kind of deciding next steps. And that. So
And just to tag on to that, the board's going to have an open meeting on April 17th. That'll be at the middle school. Make a decision on a. Is that 5 o'clock?
is that what you want, 5 o'clock?
Yeah.
All the time? That's all I have.
All right, so you do have an action item. Okay,
Is there any comments?
on school closing?
Yeah.
Or potential? Okay, we do have Nicole Damagala. Got it right.
Good evening. My name is Nicole Damagala, and I've been a teacher for over 20 years at Lake-Superior Elementary. I'll be reading a letter to you written by our staff. Many are here tonight, even some that are retired. As a staff at Lake-Superior Elementary, we recognize the difficult decisions that you are facing as you look ahead to budgeting for the 2024-2025 school year. We have followed the work of the School Consolidation Committee and have appreciated having representation on that committee. While we want what is best for all students in the school district of Superior, we also want you to be sure and aware of the things that make our school a special place for students, and why Lake Superior Elementary is a school that needs to remain open to serve the community. Lake Superior Elementary earned a Blue Ribbon Award for the 2020 school year. We also received Wisconsin Title I School Recognition Awards in 2005, 2006, 7, 12, 13, 13, 14 school year. Our small school is a very close-knit community with generations of families, some who have moved here to have their children go to our school. We have amazing staff longevity and dedication. And due to its small size, staff members know every student by their name, caring for them in each a unique and special way. As a school, we rally around staff and families facing hardship. We raise thousands of dollars not only to support a number of staff members and LSE families, but also area charities such as the Humane Society, PAVSA, and more. We raised over $18,000 to upgrade our playground, and we promised those pennies would go to the playground. We've had volunteers and Boy Scouts build and maintain our nature trail and outdoor learning classroom. We've had staff members write a Go Outside grant and a Mindful Work and Play grant. And another staff member constructed 3 little blue LSE libraries to be placed around the Lake Superior community to keep books in the hands of the students all year. We have a yearly Lake Superior Scholarship awarded to former LSE students to further their education, and families and staff in the community continue to add to that fund every year. And we know in this day and age, it's also beneficial for our school to be located so close to local agencies if we need emergency services. We know that each school in our district could write a letter highlighting all the special things they provide to their community. But we hope that you see why Lake Superior is just so important and how. Okay, thank you. And while it's been said that closing our small school would cause the least disruption to staff and students, we know that every elementary community will be disrupted significantly as boundaries are redrawn and students are shuffled between schools. We appreciate your time that you are putting into looking at all aspects, and we hope you will also seek some input from an unbiased party outside our district. Best wishes. Thank you for all that you do for the students of Superior. Thank you.
Okay, Jennifer Rose.
Dr. Jennifer Rose, I was here the last time and had a comment too. First of all, I'm proud to say that I too am a product of workforce. I want to say thank you for all of your discerning on these difficult topics and heeding the large volumes of communication that I can only imagine you're receiving from parents like myself. And a thank you to our superintendent. I can only imagine that you deal with people who are probably pretty quick to criticize when you really deserve a thank you most of the time throughout the year that you don't receive. Not just these topics, but in general. I apologize. I too have forgotten to thank for all of the wonderful things that have happened with our district. Credit is due, definitely. A well-deserved thank you to the teachers from Four Corners and Great Lakes, because you guys are the reason why our communities are such coveted places to live. You guys are why community members and families are against any closure. With that, I'm also proud to say that I am one of the parents who is part of the large community group that is working to detach Four Corners from your district. It started out as just a group that was discussing and watching and going to meetings with the goal of just hopefully preventing any school closure. And now it has organically grown into feeling like detachment is the best way to keep Four Corners open, keep it available to students, and give all students of all grades better opportunities. Many of the important driving factors also come from outside of Four Corners. Huge factor, violence at the middle school and poor performance at the middle school. Detachment might not be right for everyone, but it's right for my family, and it feels right for a whole lot of other families. And as Mrs. O'Donnell said, I'm sorry if this topic seems like a stressful socio-political issue. sorry that it feels that way for some, but it's right for a lot of families. And I'm not a lawyer, but there's one on my right who can confirm it's our constitutional right to petition. And of course, thank you, Mr. Howard. Might not have been my principal, you were my teacher, so thank you for being inspirational. And
30 seconds.
great, done faster than last time. Thank you.
You're done. Okay. Thank you. That was all we have for.
Okay. That's all I have for information items.
Thank you. Okay. Consideration of an overnight field trip request from the Superior High School Indian Ed program to attend American Indian Youth with Stethoscopes Youth Summit.
Move to approve. Second.
And in a second, is there any discussion?
You want to tell it all what this is about? It's a pretty cool event.
It's just an incredible event for our students. I did at each of your seats add a printout because the document wasn't fully, all the information wasn't included initially. But basically our students, I mean, totally on a volunteer basis, will be able to attend a field trip where we'll stay overnight in St. Paul. And then we'll go to the Hennepin Community Health Clinic. They're going to do hands-on activities and meet Indigenous doctors. I have not, attended this. It's the first one they're doing for Native students. I heard really good things about other groups that they've done this for. So they're going to get a lab coat with their name on it, a stethoscope, completely free, no cost, because we have 2 really great grants that are going to cover it. So excited, 9 students from here.
And their families too? And their families are attending with
So
them?
several of them will have a parent that will be attending with them, and just really excited to get the group together in that kind of format. We'll be going to the Science Museum on Friday. They have a couple of great exhibits going on right now. So yeah, we're excited.
Get students excited about potential medical field options.
Yeah. We'll have an update when we get back or some pictures or something. It's going to be awesome. Any other questions?
The application is very thorough. A lot of information in here. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? And all signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. That concludes the superintendent's report. So then we're going to be on the committee agenda, starting out with the teaching. What's the need? That's the need.
No action items, no discussion items. Informational items. First up tonight, Aaron Schilling, our Director of Technologies. Welcome.
You know what time it is, Aaron? No,
We got another hour.
Hi there, I'm Erin Schilling. I'm the Director of Technology. I gotta do my clicking here. I just wanted to take a little bit of time to kind of reintroduce you to the different teams that have kind of technology as their foundation. And just discuss a little bit about how we support our district's vision of all means all, every student, every day. So we have our IT team, our information technology team, and we're really proud of all these talented members of the team. They include the technology specialists and our technology support specialist. And some of their main roles and things that we're celebrating this year is that those folks ensure that our network and our equipment are in good working order. They make sure everything is secure and safe for our students and our staff. They work directly with students and staff to troubleshoot, repair the individual student devices, classroom devices, district devices. And they collaborate with all of the district teams to make sure that everything is accessible and efficiently working. So they support district testing, they support curriculum items, and they support things like, buildings and grounds projects as well. We also have instructional technology leaders. So I'm sure you're aware of our technology coaches. I was one of them, and we'll continue to support at the middle school and high school for the rest of this year. And Nancy Benner is our technology coach supporting elementary. Starting next year, we're going to move to a model of having technology leaders. So probably most likely classroom teachers. They'll continue their normal teaching duties, but they'll support the middle school and high school folks before and after school and on some of their other, other times when they're able to support folks. So we are all folks that support instructional technology in these ways. These leaders provide professional development for staff and model instructions, and they might give a demonstration of how to integrate technology right in the classroom side by side with teachers. We are trying to support this idea of keeping our guest teachers coming back day after day by providing them some training so that when they walk into the classroom, they feel really comfortable with the technology that's there, as well as other support for our students too when they're there. And these instructional leaders facilitate conversations around our standards. We call them the ITLS, Information and Technology Literacy Standards, and also our computer science standards. We have a small data privacy team, which includes some of the folks that were on these other lists. So we put this team together. You'll notice that we've got curriculum support, we've got technology support in there. And our data privacy team really works hard to make sure we're carefully watching the resources that we put in front of our students to make sure that they meet our standards of privacy, data security, and so that we're really putting the best tools in front of our students for their learning as well. We provide professional development. We give folks reminders about how to keep their data secure in all sorts of different ways, emails and sometimes one-on-one communications. That's our data privacy team. And then we have a larger future-ready team, and this team consists of all the different representation that you see on the board. We really want to make sure that we're not making decisions just focused on one thing, technology. It really is something that encompasses all of the different areas in our district. So we've got teacher reps, principal reps, administrators, and our technology teams, as well as other folks in the district who come together monthly to discuss. Oh, I forgot I put the animated slide on there. You can go see a part of this, but we discuss all of these different areas. So you'll notice things like our robust infrastructure. So our technologists are really, the ones that are most probably in the know about those things. But we've also got to be thinking about our data privacy and our budget resources, space and time. So we've got all these different ideas that we talk about, and we use this future ready framework. It's a broken thing, but it's supposed to all go. With the idea that we're all working together to uphold student learning. So all of those leaders come together to discuss all these important things that are a few of them are listed up on the screen here. So those representatives are our lead learners. They also have the task of going back out and sharing what they've learned with their colleagues back at their buildings. We've got some topics that we've discussed already this year, and we'll continue to work on them throughout this year and next year. Accessibility is a really important topic for our team. We've got our computer science standard integration. We're talking about the role of artificial intelligence in education. So things like you hear in the news are the things that we are talking about as a group, and we're trying to sort it all out so that, again, we're making good decisions for all of our students and teachers. And we just continue to use the foundation of those information and technology literacy standards to support all of our kids. So these are the topics of the ITLS standards, just so that you can see some of these words: digital citizens, you'll recognize, computational thinkers, knowledge constructors, global collaborators. All those kinds of ideas are at the foundation of the work that we do in our Future Ready team. So I just wanted to say thank you, and most importantly, that our student learning is at the forefront. So here are some pictures of students. We're really proud to celebrate our computer science course that's been going all year this year so far. We've had some good success there. We've got students designing 3D models, printing things out, making all sorts of amazing projects. You can see kids on the screen, collaborating and working together on all sorts of amazing things throughout our district. So all of our different district teams, including all the teachers too, kids really work to make this happen. So thank you for your time.
Thanks, Erin.
Thank you.
Next up, our Director of Continuous Improvement and Assessment, Kate Tesh. Dun, 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 dun.
Did you bring champagne?
All right, I have two updates today. First, I'm hoping you saw I know Amy shared with you, but it is official that we get to celebrate our graduation rate, which was for 2022, 94.2%, which deserves a huge round of applause. You have 293 diplomas out of a possible 311. So we saw some pretty statistically significant data. Obviously, we typically compare to the state, and we've been pretty stagnant while the state has made some growth over years. So that was an 8.7% growth over the previous years, and our data had been pretty consistent, hovering between 85, 84, 85, 87% one year. So we had a significant growth 1 year to year. Obviously, sustaining that is a huge priority. And I think the continued focus from all in the district about graduation and having what is our role in that graduation, obviously in 1 year, that impact is really a high school focus. But I think universally you hear it around the district, around the goal being we need kids to walk across the stage for their future, and how do we support that wherever we're at, pre-K, elementary, middle, high school. So I think that's a huge celebration. The bummer is always that it's so delayed in being released. It feels like we're almost on to our 2023 graduates, but the state did finally release that. So the state's graduation rate for 2022 was 90.7%. So the state did see an increase over the previous year as well, but not as statistically significant as ours. So huge celebration. We did have some media requests, and we were able to celebrate that a little bit. And I believe the Telegram is writing a story currently, and we may see some more information on that.
Can I add to that, Kate? Just, it's important to note that those graduation rates are in addition to the high school, also exceeding standards on the school report card as well. So overall, huge celebration for the high school this school year. So thank you.
All of those factors will continue to add to the high school report card score, which is a huge bonus. It will pay off. It will continue to pay off. Everyone's been working hard, and we're just waiting to see that celebration kind of publicly. And I think that's what's exciting about this data from the big picture of the data that's a little bit delayed. And then in addition, I just wanted to give you an update. You've heard a little bit about spring assessments, but we are underway with state testing in all places. Our last school starts forward exam testing tomorrow. Everybody in a little bit different place. So as a refresher, our 3rd through 8th grade students take the forward exam in English, language arts, and math. Our 4th, 8th, and 10th graders also take science and social studies components of the forward exam. Our 9th and 10th graders, as Erin mentioned, take the pre-ACT Secure. It's the first year we're using that test. It's supposed to correlate a little bit better to the ACT. So students will have a composite and be able to see a better projection score for their 11th grade year when they do take the ACT. So huge celebration with the ACT, which our kids took on March 22nd. We have reached over 97% of our juniors having completed the ACT, which in my 4 years, we've struggled to get even close to that after another 6 days of offering that test. So we had amazing attendance on test day, and then we also were able to test students in a few makeup days afterwards. And we will continue to try to reach those 3% of kids to get them taking the ACT. So that is a huge celebration. Lots of hard work at the high school. Super impressive collective team effort. I was really proud to watch it all come together, and hopefully our kids can benefit from that data depending on how they're using it for themselves. That's just an update. Any questions? Assessments, graduation right now. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
For
Well done.
your leadership. Finally, Jen Willoughby, Director of Early Childhood and Family Education.
Good evening, everyone. I just have two quick things to share. as many of you may remember, last year I was here with my baby dolls to celebrate what we purchased with the Carol for Buckus Fund. I don't have a show and tell this year. Our materials are still on order, but I just wanted to share with you what we're doing. We received $500 again from the Carol for Buckus Fund, which we are always super grateful for. To get that money, and then we're really excited to kind of put our heads together and figure out what do our kids need and what would best support them. So we're purchasing materials this year for individual sensory bins. So we always have lots of sensory play in early childhood. So if you ever want to come get your hands dirty, please come visit our classrooms. But sometimes kiddos need just their own space to have a sensory break. Circle time might be just too stimulating for them. They just need to step away for a minute, but need something to keep their hands busy. So our goal is to make kind of shoebox size sensory bins that would just be for one, maybe two kids if they can share really well, probably just for one. But we're hoping to be able to get 3 or 4 in each classroom. So it wouldn't be a shared resource. It would just be pushed into all the classrooms for the teachers to have access to for the kids who need it. So that's our plan for the funding this year. And then the next thing I wanted to share with you is kindergarten transition. So this is kind of the week that all decisions were sort of made and came to a head. So hot off the press, kindergarten transition night is Tuesday, April 25th. Flyers are being sent out tonight. I have to send all my stuff out at like midnight. Otherwise, I've learned I've shut down the email system. So I will do it. I will do it in the evening. Yeah, flyers will be sent out. Each family will receive a flyer for their own specific school because we try and collect as much information about how many families will be coming. So there's a little RSVP on all the flyers. And so that information will be pushed out. Kindergarten, another piece with kindergarten transition is I share a Google site, which is a virtual link for families to access to learn all about all the elementary schools. So there's cool videos that the principals and teachers make for me. So thank you all for making them. This is the time of year where they're all stressed about getting them done. Little tours of the school. Videos from the counselors, secretaries, just kind of all the staff that the kiddos might meet when they enter the schools. And our 4K teachers use that also when talking with kids about the school that they're going to attend, because we can't put all of them on a bus and bring them from the YMCA or Head Start to go to all the elementary buildings. So the teachers access that site and watch the videos with their kids and really get them excited to go to kindergarten at their new schools. So that is also a couple more videos I'm collecting and I'll be ready to push that out. I'm hoping by the end of this week. So that's what I got going on. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Steve. Next, we have Personnel and Negotiations Committee, Mike.
Thanks, Mr. President. We have 4 action items, no discussion items, and an informational item. First action item, administration recommends approval of the April 2023 new hires, transfers, and separations report.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Action item number 2, administration recommends releasing Shannon Grindle, Director of Business Services, from her 23-24 school year contract per her request effective June 30th, 2023, with the liquidated damages provision enforced.
Moved
To approve.
and seconded.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
Can we just not release Shannon?
I was wondering if you should really approve this.
Certainly can deny it.
Thank you so much for your work. It's tremendous amount of information that you provide for us, and it's always there, and you have the answers. You're a very learned person. You handle school finance very well, and I wish you the best.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Administration recommends approval of the updated job description for the following positions in the teacher category. EL teacher.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
You want to just give an update on why we're sharing it?
Yep, so we needed to just get this job description updated, similar to the other teacher job descriptions. We have tried to post this in years past, we have luck of getting any qualified candidates. So we're hoping it's updated for maybe get somebody. We do have 2 support staff working with ELL students, but we don't have a licensed teacher at this point.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We invite them up before.
We make the motion and
Okay. Administration recommends approval of the changes to the employee handbook for the 2023-2024 school year per the attached summary.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. We have someone here who would like to speak.
I don't.
about the HSA.
Mr. Kyle Smith.
Yeah, I
I'd
did.
like to speak at this time.
Just real quick. I'd actually like to commend Aaron with the student council. I know this is not the topic, so. But it was a great day, especially for many of us that kind of wondered how the day was going to go. And so, and when you have more positive things than negative things, you know you're doing something right. So nice job, Aaron.
Thanks.
And I'm not here just to cheerlead, but Kate as well, the ACT was amazingly organized. I saw a couple of kids that I hadn't seen in weeks to class and they showed up. I'm not sure what she did, but kudos to you. But I just wanted to say that I saw on the HSA, that's one of the issues there, and I just appreciate that being on there. I know we have a smaller percent of people that take insurance, but that HSA addition would help those that do take the insurance, and just want to say that we appreciate it, or those that take the insurance appreciate it. So thanks.
Thank you. Thanks. Any other discussion from the board?
The only thing I'd add on Kyle, his comment there, a lot of that is a reflection of the meeting of FERS that we've had with staff. So I think it's a positive thing of us being able to listen.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I have an informational item. It says none, but I do have some. Staffing reductions for the 23-24 school year.
Sorry. Oh, this was it. So, I wanted to, we haven't done this every year, but I wanted to share with you a current update as to where we are with planning our future budgets and thinking ahead when it comes to receiving some of the retirements and the resignations that we've recently received. So as it says on this memo, we're taking a look at really of the resignations and retirements. We're getting at the elementary level and whether those positions need to be replaced. As I say in the memo, and I've shared multiple other contexts, we've lost over 300 elementary students. And so we need to continue to adjust our staffing allocation to match our student enrollment. We have not seen the same reduction at the middle and the high school. We're seeing larger cohorts of students in those grade levels, and we're seeing smaller cohorts of kindergarten coming into our school. So I'm imagining in about 3 or 4 years, the middle school is going to start to see some of the declining enrollment that our elementary is currently seeing. But we're trying to take advantage of some of the resignations and retirements right now. So when we get to a position where we need to make additional reductions in our budget, we're trying to avoid layoff situations. So you're seeing the timing of this right now because the retirement window just closed, and so we're responding to that. So that's why you're seeing those. We have also put in place that any additional resignations or retirements that happen that we often get between the support staff from here to the end of the year will also be reviewed and to replace those as well. That process will just continue for months ahead. So we're trying to keep class sizes in a good place. We're proud of our class sizes, and it plays an important role in the achievement and all the successes we've had that we've talked about tonight. And so you'll see with those reductions, we still have good class sizes across all of our schools, and we still have some class sizes that really are very low and be reevaluated next year.
And I guess I just want to point out, like, we didn't lose 300, kids. I mean, like, there's a declining.
We have less kindergarten, the numbers coming into our elementaries is far less than the cohorts that are leaving our high school.
Yes.
If I didn't say that, but yeah.
Because that sounds like they all just flopped.
No.
Yeah.
Any other comment from the board, comments from the board, discussion? This is my report.
That's big. Next we've got the Budget and Insurance Committee. Brooke.
All right. I have 3 action items. The first is gifts, grants, and bequests. Administration recommends approval to accept gifts, grants, and bequests received in March of 2023.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Thank you to everybody.
All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The second action item is approval of new activity account for SHS Music Department.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Have we not had an account for music in the past? Okay, I'm just wondering why.
That was gonna be my question is, do we check for duplicates when we have these come up?
Okay.
So. That should be the box. I made sure to go back and double check her on it. Yes, we do check.
So the music department has the choir fund backlog. Okay. I think this one is because they're planning a big trip as they collect it. Here's so they need a place when they're raising.
So the funds is that makes more sense after it's done, for sure.
That's what it says, like, in the purpose, exactly what Ella just told us. For its shared funds.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Last action item is resolution to authorize CISA 12 to dispose of real estate property and allocation of proceeds.
Motion to approve, or motion.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I will say, when I received it, I know, I was just saying, when I received this resolution, I called,
Nick at CISA 12 and shared with him previous board conversations, but for transparency purposes, it's on the agenda so you can make that decision.
And it did pass by the CISA board.
I'll be honest, seeing it, it made me kind of upset because they know that most, if not all districts in CISA 12 are facing a budget shortfall. And to ask for more money when we just gave them money to purchase a building. And then when they sell it off to not offer it back to the schools, I was pretty upset. We need to work together and that just doesn't feel right. So even if it's $1, it's the principle behind it. If the building sells for $1, you're going to divide it up between the districts. That's my personal opinion.
Here's what Nick said in response to that is they would be planning to come to the school boards again for any renovations that they would need. And so this is to alleviate a future request for renovation funds. I'm not advocating.
Yeah, no.
I just want y'all to know, this is not
You're just
me.
reporting.
You're reporting to us, yeah.
Exactly.
No.
They said it was functional, correct? I mean, that's what he made it.
It is.
This is more just like their wants, I think.
He sent a list and I sent that to everyone of like what the renovations would be. So yes, it's functional, but then I did send the list because you guys had asked at the last meeting, what were the things that were looking to be fixed? And so you have that list from last month. When did I send?
I think that was
that last month.
Yeah. I don't know. We all have to give and take.
I'm just gonna say for the record, this is a hard no for me. It's a hard no if they come back again for something else. Right? Absolutely not.
I prepared him for that response.
I also said the same thing.
Oh, sorry, that's me. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed?
No.
Nay.
No.
All right, motion fails. I have no discussion items. I have a couple of informational items, Fund 10 revenue and expenditure reports.
So we are reaching that time of year where we will start seeing some of these state revenues come in. They did not make this report because they came in late last week. We did receive a pretty large equalization aid payment. We received a per pupil aid payment. We'll start seeing some of these other, maybe some of the library aid payment come in as well. So we're starting to see some of these revenues roll in now, which will help our year end. Again, you can see that we still have about 26.7 million roughly to collect for this year. On the expense side, again, we're starting to see that time of year where now we're starting to shut some things down. We've reached the first threshold, which was March 31st for any large purchases. And then from there, we kind of hit the next ones. We'll start doing some year-end planning here at the beginning of May to determine whether or not we'll have funds available for some purchases that we've held off on for the year.
All right. Are you doing the health insurance plan update as well? Okay.
We did receive information back from our health insurance company that we will see a 7.5% rate increase for next year. It's not ideal, but it could have been 10%. Positive side. We did budget for 10%, so we're going to see a little bit, or preliminary budget for 10%, so we'll see a little bit of relief there. This is what it would look like on the employee side. That's linked into the document, so go ahead and take a look at that. And then from a district perspective, about 380,000, 389,000 if you round up cost to the district.
And you're saying that's budgeted for?
Correct. We budgeted 10.
Yeah. So we'll see, we can adjust our budget to reflect this.
That ends my report, Mr. President.
All right. And with that, our last committee report, legislative committee with Ed.
All right. No action items, no discussion items, informational item is as follows from the WASB legislative updates. Assembly passes 2 bills to require schools to report certain crimes, March 14th. The State Assembly took floor action on a pair of bills relating to reporting of crimes by schools as part of a floor calendar of bills focusing on crime. Below description of those bills and Assembly action on them, you can check the article for more details, but I'm just going to give you a few. Why not? The first bill requires schools to report major crimes like homicide, sexual assault, battered persons. I would hope that they would anyhow, major crimes, but it also adds in disorderly conduct. That's being reported DPI. It does not go toward the annual report card, but it's more focused for parents to know what is happening in the schools. And that's just through the Assembly right now. The second bill requires if you have 100 or more incidents within one semester of all those felonies I listed above, it would require the school to have the district to have an SRO in that school and be reimbursed by DPI. Both those bills are kind of party line bills. Again, this is just an Assembly, so it's not something that's happening right now, but that's what the bills are kind of about. And with that, that concludes the legislative committee.
All right, thank you, Ed. And I believe that's everything for tonight.
Yep.
So with that, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.